Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. God bless America.
Thank you very much to Little Willie G. Also thank you to the gentleman presenting the colors here tonight, the U.S. Marine Corps Color Guard Recruiting Station, Los Angeles. Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you to our featured bout of the evening, brought to you by Forum Boxing Incorporated and Budweiser, the undisputed, undefeated king of beers. This bout is sanctioned by the World Boxing Council, the supervisor at ringside, Luis Escalona, along with the California State Athletic Commission, the chairman, William Eastman, vice chairman, Willie Buchanan, executive director, Richard DeCure. Our judges scoring this bout from ringside, Vince Delgado, Lou Filippo, and Carol Castellano, and a referee in charge of this bout, World Boxing Hall of Famer, Marty Denkin. All right, fans, here we go with our main event of the evening, a rematch, special attraction, 12 rounds of boxing for the WBC Continental America's Super Featherweight Championship. Introducing to you first the challenger on my left, fighting out of the red corner. Entering the ring wearing black trunks with white trim, hailing from and representing his hometown of Mexicali, Baja California, Mexico. He weighed in at the limit of 130 pounds. His record includes 57 wins, 11 losses, and 4 draws, with 38 of his wins coming by way of knockout. Here is the former IBF featherweight world champion, tonight's challenger, known as the Clown Prince of Boxing, introducing Jorge Maromero Paez. His opponent across the ring, presenting the defending champion on my right, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing blue trunks with gold trim, joining us from Virginia Beach, Virginia. He weighed in the same as his opponent at 130 pounds even. His record includes 13 wins, 3 losses, and 1 draw. 5 of his wins coming by way of knockout. He is the 1992 U.S. Olympian, tonight defending his WBC Continental America's Super Featherweight crown. Please welcome the defending champion, Julian, the Dealer Wheeler. Once again, Marty Denkin is our referee in charge, now to give instructions.
Remember your responsibilities. I've explained to you my responsibilities. From here on in, we got a problem. Here on up, we're okay. Good luck.
Tail of the tape for this title scrap. Wheeler's 5'8.5", Paez 5'6", although the height difference is much more noticeable than that. They're both at 130. Paez is 6 years older and is 2 inches shy in the reach department compared to Wheeler. Now, the rules that govern this WBC Continental Americas Championship fight. Winner of the round gets 10 points. The loser, a lesser number. We'll go on with the rules in just a bit as the action starts, and round 1 is underway. 5'8", 5'6". Paez looks a lot shorter in that regard, and it was a problem with height that cost him some precious moments in that fight up at Lake Tahoe. He has to get inside to be effective against Wheeler, and Wheeler up there would not let him.
Looking at Paez here, Tom, he seems very focused. He seems very intense and very intent on his job at hand. I think he has a newfound respect for Wheeler, who I think he believed he was just going to have a track meet with, and all he was going to have to do was walk the kid down and finally get to him in their last fight. He knows that Julian Wheeler can fight some. Wheeler is tall and quick, as you can see. He's very clever. He does have very little power. He was thought to lack. Oh, yes, very good boxer. He can really use that ring, although he did not necessarily use it in last fight in the way that he had previous fights. One thing he did display in that last fight, Tom, that he had not before was stamina. He finished the fight strong. In previous fights, he had not finished strong, but in that one, he was the stronger guy in the last rounds of the bout.
Artie Denkin, referee, asking Wheeler to keep his punches up. When Paez goes to the body, Rich, I'll present a little thought to you here. Wheeler kind of bends over, ducking to his right side, and in doing so brings his head down to where Paez can really tee off on it. Especially stay upright.
Especially if he uses the uppercut, Tom. That could be something to Paez's advantage here in this fight.
There's an overhand right that Paez has landed. He's landed 2 or 3 solid shots here. That left was blocked by Wheeler. But Wheeler negates the advantage he has in height and reach when he starts to bend over in response to a punch thrown to his midsection.
Tom, with the exception of wearing that bunny rabbit outfit into the ring, I see a real difference here in Paez. In just his look, in his focus, how he's approaching this fight. There was no other goofing around in the ring, no dancing, no singing.
Oh, no, his demeanor, he is just...
He's all business.
Oh, yes, no question about it. Pointing up again, as we have alluded to, and Fernando did in his conversation earlier with him prior to the start of our show tonight. This is a most important night for Maramero Paez. It could be the last hurrah for one of the most charismatic fighters ever to climb into this or any other ring. Good right hand by Paez. Now, Paez has got some power, make no mistake about it. And if Wheeler wants to get into a slugfest with him, Wheeler will be the sorrier for it, I'm sure. And this round 1 is starting out like it's going to be a slugfest, to be sure. We'll be back.
Fox Sports continues to deliver the best in boxing. A boxing marathon featuring 4 world title events. Randall meets Rahilu. Akawandi meets Welsh. Norris meets Rupar. Trinidad meets Lushing. 9:30 Wednesday. Get back on the piste with Fox Sports and World Cup skiing. This weekend, the slalom stars are in action at Breckenridge. The women downhillers are at Lake Louise. And from Switzerland, 10K cross country. World Cup skiing, Friday, 7:30 on Fox Sports.
Up they come for round number 2. I thought it was a good round for Paez. Rich, I'm anxious for your comment on it.
Yeah, I gave him the round, Tom. I thought he was much more aggressive. He landed the better punches. And I thought the Wheeler was strangely inactive in round 1. He's going to have to start getting off. You know, that last fight with Paez, he started from the very beginning. And it looks as though now he's trying to get his punches going.
Yeah. One would have thought and assumed, and maybe we just didn't read that much into it, that after his victory against Paez, the confidence factor would have risen enormously in Wheeler's corner. But I tell you, Paez is really, you talk about a guy on a mission. He looks like he is just all focused in. Wheeler is going to have to be at his best. And every time Wheeler bends over in response to a punch thrown by Paez, he negates his height and reach advantage and brings himself right down to where Paez can get inside. And when Paez gets inside, he can hurt this tall, lean, lanky champion.
And one thing that they want Wheeler to do, Tom, in terms of strategy here now in this fight, is when they see Paez leaning to come in, just at least to touch him in some way, somewhere, knock him off balance, slow his momentum down, but basically take away his balance as he's coming in. Doesn't have to be a clean punch, but just get his gloves on him somewhere.
That's right. Just get off first. He did there just a moment ago. Just interrupt whatever it is Paez has got planned for him, and just touch him was the information coming out of the corner. Reach out and touch him with the jab. It starts everything for you, and it slows down everything for the opposition. Solid, sound advice. Wheeler's in the blue. Paez, the shorter of the two men. Right hand by Paez. You know, Rich, this is what, the 6th fight now we've seen him in, the new Paez. He is really in great shape, isn't he?
Yes, and you know, Tommy, he weighs a couple pounds more for this fight than he did in that Lake Tahoe fight. He's been trying to show everybody he could get down to 126, and that night in Tahoe, he came down to 128, if you remember, for that bout. And you know, he just didn't seem right that night. He was a little bit sluggish. He seemed a little stale. He had nowhere near the sharpness that he displayed in other bouts. Did a good job there of avoiding the punches of Wheeler. Maramero's defensive skills are often overlooked, but he knows how, just by bobbing and weaving from the waist, to get away from punches.
Yes, and don't ever discount the courage of this fighter out of Mexicali, who sometimes it's lost on the crowd, who gets caught up in his antics in the ring and his showmanship things. We've seen him get knocked down in one of his really great fights against Freddie Pendleton for the IBC lightweight title. And Pendleton knocked him down not once but twice, but he got back up and fought a courageous battle against Pendleton. So there's never been any question about his courage, his heart, or his stamina. Maybe he hasn't always been dead serious about his career, but believe me, now he is. All right, we'll follow Wheeler back to his corner after round number 2, and it's been a very spirited one. Wheeler, I thought, performed a bit better following advice. Joe Chavez, John Hunter, and Barrett Silver over in his corner.
Clear ball, Julian. Nice shot. This snapping now. I want you to touch him down with a short jab, short right hand. Fight him a little closer right now. Fight him a little closer. Just like you fight now. Short jab, short right hand. Come out and take that uppercut. Come back with a left hook behind it. Okay, everything nice and short, just like you're doing inside. For a few more rounds, then we're going to get in our rhythm, and then we're going to start boxing them, okay? Suck it up. A much better round that round, okay? And pick that rhythm on it, make him miss, and beat him to the punch. Okay, baby?
Have to admire the work of his corner people, don't you, Rich? Very calm, cool, collected, and they have the entire concentration of the fighter. And he was frank to admit, much better round for it, and I thought it was. But now Paez comes out, jumping off his feet, throwing a big left hand at the champion Wheeler.
And they're willing to fight in this round a little bit closer to Paez, they said. You don't have to be so far away. Go ahead a little bit closer, but again, be aware of that uppercut when you do get in close.
Well, he's got to get off first, Wheeler does, to negate whatever effect Paez could have on the outcome of this fight. He's got to hit him first, keep Paez off stride. There's a case. He sticks that left out. You see Paez is in a backward leaning, if not moving backward position as a result of it. Many guys, I don't care how good they are, that fight backing up. And if you back him up right there, just stick the jab out. And Paez has got to respect the reach and the height advantage you have.
I tell you, you're really seeing a different style from Julian Wheeler, though, than in his early fights. He was basically a big-time mover. One who was circling all the time, calm, always up on his toes, dancing all the time. But you look, he's a boxer, sure, but look at him right now. He's flat-footed. He's right basically in front of Paez, and he's willing to utilize his own cleverness and his own technique to be able to avoid punches. And he feels that if he gets into a little battle with you, that his speed will enable him to land the quicker punches and beat you to the punch.
And of course, you know, fighters, I don't think, really like to be classified as a guy who dances and gets up on his toes and moves and really doesn't squat right down and trade punches with the opposition. It's almost as though they're being disrespected by the public, even though that, you know, there's nothing wrong with being a boxer.
Aside from everything, if you get the reputation as a runner and a spoiler, you're going to have trouble getting fights.
Exactly.
Any meaningful fights with people. They don't want to go in and look bad. So Wheeler may actually be a better fighter this way, though, because I think, Tom, that he was expending a lot of needless energy with his constant movement around the ring.
He's having a very good round number 3 here, Rich. He is getting off first. He is negating Paez. He's forcing him to back up and go into a defensive mode more than on the attack.
Yes, this is beginning to take on, this round particularly, Tom, take on the look of that fight in Lake Tahoe.
So we're getting a little deja vu feeling here. I am just a bit. The only difference would be certainly not anything Wheeler's doing. The fact that Paez realizes that he must expect this kind of a fight and is going to have to find some way to fight his way through it or around it or what have you.
Well, he's got to get closer to Wheeler, I think, rough him up a little bit, be able to really pound to the body inside.
That's right. He's going to have to rough him up. He's going to have to take away Wheeler's outside activities and ability. We'll be back with round 4. The bell brings him up for round 4. You're watching the action from the Great Western Forum. Tom Kelly, Rich Murata, great crowd on hand. This championship go. Julian Wheeler, the taller of the 2 men in the blue. Jorge Montemero Paez in black. Marty Denkin, Hall of Famer, is the man in the ring. And now they get wrestled down, shoved down. That'll be just a wipe off the gloves. No knockdown. While extolling the virtues of Paez as a fighter, and they are considerable, he's always been a very clean fighter too, Rich.
Yeah, although Jose Vita Ramos may I disagree.
I remember the night, and he came over to look at the replay, and I looked up at him and I said, stupid, just plain stupid. And he was that night.
That's the fight that Paez was basically disqualified. Those are defensive moves that I'm talking about, bending at the waist that Paez has.
But while doing that, he doesn't throw any punches and is ineffective as well. But outside of that, no, I have seen him, and you have too. I say to the referee, this man is hurt. I don't want to fight him anymore. But why should we, you know, punish another guy needlessly and actually looking for a referee to stop the fight when he had an opponent who was really in bad shape?
I've asked him about that, and he said, hey, look, we're not animals.
Exactly.
We're sportsmen. So
that Ramos fight, I think, was an aberration. It was just a question of brief moment of stupidity. Paez, the shorter of the 2 men. They met in October back at Lake Tahoe, Caesars Tahoe. And in a surprise, why Wheeler confounded all of the experts. Nice job by Wheeler here in this, the 4th round.
He was a major betting underdog that night, too, Tom. I believe it was about 6-1 that Wheeler was an underdog to Paez in that fight. And Paez had looked so sharp last year, especially that May 4th fight at the Pond when he knocked out Jose Sanabria, the former IBF champion. I just thought that it was his best performance in years, and he looked very sharp and powerful in that fight, and he really seemed to be coming back to his old self again.
Paez looking, bobbing, weaving, trying to find a way to get inside and unleash a barrage of punches. He's fully capable of doing it. But he's got to get inside to do it. And Wheeler, aside from getting into kind of a struggling wrestling type match with him, if he just jabs and moves and gets off first, as his corner has told him, Wheeler can control this fight. Wheeler is a man without a great punch, but he certainly has considerable skills when it comes to boxing. A long amateur career. Very clever, lean, lanky, good mover, quick hands, quick feet. That brings us to the end of round number 4. Action had slowed just a bit. Take a moment to remind you, we asked Wheeler what he would expect in this rematch in the ring tonight. Here's Julian's answer to that one.
Well, I'm looking for him to probably come straight at me, trying to land a little bit more body shots, and think he's probably going to get aggressive this time, but I'm prepared for him. No, I'm still going to box more, and I'm going to throw more punches, a little bit more solid punches. Now I know what to expect from him.
So Wheeler engaged in a conversation with the people in his corner, listening and answering and talking.
Don't worry about it. But look, you got to get off. Don't wait on it. Turn up good. You got to get off. Use your jab. Use your jab. Send him back. Beat him to the punch. Try to get a 1-2 off on him first. Okay?
Wheeler fully aware that he may have surprised Paez in that first bout up at Lake Tahoe, Caesars. He certainly realizes that Paez is going to come at him fully armed tonight. So Wheeler going to be best prepared, he says. Get off first. His corner telling him to get off first. Use the reach. Use the height. Use his boxing skills.
Paez is going to have to reach down into his bag of tricks, Tom, knowing he has trouble.
That he's going to have to rough this guy up.
Yeah, but he has trouble seemingly figuring out how to go about doing that against him. You know, certain fighters face people whose styles just are never right for them. Riddick Bowe is probably never going to be able to fight well against Andrew Golota. And, you know, Muhammad Ali had problems with the style of Ken Norton. And I think that Jorge Paez... Yeah, but, you know, I think it was the style of Norton that, you know...
really found Ali as much trouble as Norton's skills in the ring.
Right, and I think this kid's style here just really bothers Paez.
Paez has no excuses. He is in great shape. It is a most meaningful fight for him for his career. And now Wheeler getting off first. Paez comes back with a countering left hand, but Wheeler landing first and landing with success. Knowledgeable as anybody that ever watched a fight. Tell me about Espinoza. Is he more Paez's type of opponent, do you think, if he should be able to get a shot with him?
Yeah, but he possesses a pretty good punch. Espinoza certainly a lot more than this kid does, but, you know, I think that Paez would actually enjoy fighting an Espinoza more than he is enjoying here.
He'd have to get down to 126 too, wouldn't he?
Yes, he would, yeah.
At least he'd have to make 126 at the weigh-in.
And he keeps saying he can do it. But you know, those last couple of pounds, when you're up past 30, they come off a little harder.
Oh, boy, and they go on so easy. It is so tough to get it off. And then, of course, you've got a guy that you say can hit. Good left hand by Wheeler. You know, Wheeler is really becoming very aggressive here in this round. He is getting off first. He's landing solid shots, and he's kind of manhandling Paez around a bit. Round number 5 is coming to a close. So far, Wheeler is right on track, at least on my scorecard. I don't know how you're seeing it at home or how the judges are, but a pretty good fight for Wheeler. We'll be back. Well, after 5 rounds, Rich Marotta has Wheeler ahead by just a point. I've been a little more in Wheeler's corner in the scoring department. Coming to the 6th round here, Marty Denkin, the referee, looking at the 2 men. Wheeler's in blue, Paez in the black, trimmed with the Playboy bunny. Wheeler pushes under the canvas. These men are fighting for Wheeler's title. He has the WBC Continental American Super Featherweight crown. It is scheduled for 12 rounds. Wheeler defeated Paez to claim the title in October of last year up in Caesars Lake Tahoe.
Jorge Paez has been around a long time, Tom. He's had a lot of fights and a very colorful career. Turned pro way back in 1984. Won the World Championship in 1988. The last 15-round fight. He beat Calvin Grove to win the world title and the IBF 126-pound title. He successfully defended that crown 8 times, and along the way added the WBO title when he decisioned Louis Espinoza. He gave up that title voluntarily to challenge for the 130-pound crown of Tony Lopez, but he couldn't win it. And 3 times he tried to win the 135-pound title. The lightweight lightweight championship, but failed in efforts against Oscar De La Hoya and the aforementioned Freddie Pendleton, and also Pernell Whitaker, although he fought a pretty good fight against Whitaker.
He's been really a great fighter, and he hasn't always been the most serious trainer, the most serious conditioner. Of course, boy, that left hand by Wheeler, he's just peppering Paez with it.
And I don't want to write the fistic obituary of Jorge Paez yet, Tom, but he's being lathered pretty good in this round. And after a tremendous first round, in which he really came out and looked very good, really it's been Wheeler's fight since.
It has indeed, and Wheeler pretty much having things his way. Bear in mind that Wheeler does not have, per se, a KO punch. Good uppercut. Nice left to the body and a follow-up right hand by Wheeler. Paez does have some power and can knock you down and can knock you out, but he's going to have to swarm all over Wheeler to do it. And Wheeler is just meeting him at every stretch of the road, every bend, beating him to the punch and handling him in rather complete fashion. We're battling in round number 6 here, scheduled for 12.
Let us not forget, however, that he was this dominant and this far in front of Juan Manuel Marquez in the first 5-6 rounds of their bout, and he faded down the stretch and eventually was stopped in the 10th round in a highly controversial stoppage by referee Larry Rosadilla. Most people felt that he was robbed that night of a victory over Marquez.
Wheeler may have grown up a bit since Rich. I think Stamina, we're over in the corner with Maramero, Paez, Chuck Bodak looking, and there's a in the upper portion of the left eye, up in the eyebrow. They're working on a cut up there. Paez has incurred.
Jorge is trying, Tom. There's been no antics in there.
No.
There's been no jumping jacks, no kissing the ring card girls, no dancing.
No.
He looks discouraged, though.
Wheeler on the other side.
Okay. Come on now. Come on, you got to work. I mean, look, don't get this boy on this floor, okay?
Yes, sir.
Come on, you got to get off. You got to get off. Light uppercut on the side. Get into your rhythm. In and out, in and out. Get into your rhythm.
Did I hear Wheeler say yes, sir, over there in the corner? I think I did. I don't think I've ever heard a fighter say that to a trainer, even if he was talking to his father or older brother. Quite a show of respect. This one is scheduled for 12. Denk and the referee. Round number 7, he's cautioning Wheeler now about holding and hitting. Good right hand by Wheeler. Backs Paez up. The reason I brought up Espinoza and the fact that he might get a title shot, he is such a charismatic fighter. He would be big box office if you could stage that kind of a fight, say, here in Los Angeles or even in Vegas, wouldn't he?
Oh, yes, and I think, you know, he still maintains, and Jorge has proven he maintains his ability to pull an audience in-house and on the television screen to get, you know, to get big ratings. But he's got to win to get these shots, Tom.
Yes. The fact that he's a big box office gate is not going to stand him in very good stead if he comes out a loser here tonight. And he's going to have to do something to kind of turn this around. But Wheeler is doing an outstanding job of handling him, backing him up, beating him to the punch.
Nice little punch inside by Paez. Tommy landed that left hook inside, and now they're going to... Denkin had warned both fighters just moments before about holding behind the head and hitting.
Took a point away from Paez, did he not?
Yes, he did. He had warned them both, and with the second warning there, he takes a point from Paez.
Well, I hate to look at the judge's scorecard, but I don't think Paez can afford to miss a point anywhere along the line here. Show of red again up in the corner of his right eye, excuse me, his left eye. Chuck Bodak will take care of that. He's just one of the best cut men the fight game has produced. Well, I tell you, you can see just how serious a matter this is. Not that boxing isn't, no matter what. Just taking a look at the face of Paez, he has not had a grimace. He hasn't gagged. He hasn't done one thing to play to the crowd. Part of the crowd is gone tonight. It's like he's doing drama with Shakespeare rather than, you know, a great show on earth.
He hurt Wheeler with that left hook, Tom. He hurt Julian Wheeler. Right near the end of round 7, Paez launched a home run shot. That left hook, it grazed about half on the chin and half up high on the chest. That had been just a little bit more flush. He could have perhaps put Wheeler on the canvas as it was. Wheeler definitely felt that punch and wobbled back a little, even though not all of the power was with it.
It was the best punch he's thrown, he being Paez, since the first round. Bear in mind that as good as the punch was, he lost a point in that round, having had it taken away because of repeatedly holding and hitting, having been cautioned by referee Marty Jenkins. So if the punch might have been good enough to get him a shot at winning that round, the point probably cost him the round. So, and I don't know if that one punch, as good as it was, would have negated everything that went before it.
Well, if you give Paez that last round, you still have to deduct the point. It would then be scored 9-9 on your scorecards here. Now, although they were telling Wheeler not to, you know, stay fairly close, I don't think they want an inside fight with Paez. I think they want him, you know, to pretty much at arm's length. He doesn't have to be leaning back and be way far away from him, but close enough. Yeah, that's a pretty good distance for him right there where he's shooting right now. But if it gets to an inside fight, then Paez has a chance, Tom, of perhaps launching an uppercut or maybe that left hook that he threw, which would catch Wheeler leaning back out of it.
I couldn't agree more. I think Wheeler's advantage in reach and height is best served to have Paez right at the end of that jab. Just get off first, stick that jab in his face, back Paez up, or at least slow him down, force him to back up or at least regroup before throwing a punch, come back with the right hand behind it. I think it's the classical way to fight Paez, and you minimize his considerable skills. You let him get inside, as you've said. He can rip one at you.
So they want him at short distance, but not inside.
No.
Right here, he's in danger.
But right there he is, and if he would just follow up with that, then he ducks his head, steps back and slides inside, and Paez comes at him now.
And Paez is beginning to get to Wheeler a little bit. I think the crowd senses it.
But at least they are hopeful of it, because I'm sure this is a heavily partisan Paez crowd, as you can hear some of his fans shouting in the background. We're watching the action here in round number 8. Handful of seconds remain. Wheeler with a right hand drives Paez back for a moment. Paez tough to discourage, though. And round 8 coming to a close. Up they come for round number 9 for the first time, Rich. A bit of concern in Wheeler's corner about his style and what he's trying to do out there. And conversely, Paez coming out pretty good.
Yeah, they were worried in the corner of Wheeler, Tom, that he's leaning to his right too much, and he's putting himself in range of Paez's left hook. And I think that's exactly what happened in that last round. Remember, we said he didn't want to be inside. He wanted to be at a distance, although a short distance, but at a distance.
And of course, bear in mind that for Paez, while it may be an uphill struggle, it is, I mean, there's no turning back. This has just got to be as good as he can be, because it's a very important fight for Paez.
But I thought he was starting to get to Wheeler in that last round. Now I want to see if Wheeler wears down the way that he did in his earlier fights and against Marquez.
Paez hit him with a right hand and hurt him there a moment ago, Rich.
And a follow-up left hand, too. He's landing punches now that he didn't land at all in the first 5 rounds and in that whole fight at Lake Tahoe.
And in fact, it is he who's instituting the action. Wheeler's left hand is almost a forgotten item. In fact, he is barely pawing with it and then trying to duck away from the onslaught he expects and receives from Paez. Wheeler's got to go back to page 2 or 3 of his instructions.
Yeah, where's his jab?
Yeah, his jab has gone south. He's going to have to start to use it, or Paez is going to walk right through and deck him.
He's trying to hook with Paez, and that could be a mistake.
Paez nailed it with a good, solid left hand. Paez having a very good round. We're in round number 9. It's scheduled for 12. So don't count anybody or anything out yet. Paez had a point taken away for holding and hitting. You can hear the crowd in the background screaming encouragement for Paez, a most popular fighter, one of the most popular ever to climb into a ring here in Southern California. Keep in mind that Paez has got the power to knock Wheeler out. He's got 38 knockouts.
But the same can't be true for Wheeler. I don't think he can stop Paez, Tom. His only chance, I think, is winning on decision. Unless Paez were, of course, to cut.
This is the 73rd fight of Paez's career. He has been around a long time. Pretty good round here, 8, and now in round 9, we'll be back. The fight continues. Round number 10, a determined, renewed, refreshed Maramero Paez in black comes out against Wheeler, whose corner cautioned him, and they've been right on ever since the first bell. That you have got to go back out and fight, and you've got to win these 3 rounds. That's all there is to it.
Tom, I've given Paez the last 3 rounds to pull even in this fight.
Well, remember, one of them had a point taken away. Did you give him that one?
Yes, I gave him that round, but I ended up scoring it even. I had him down 2 points going into that round. And still, obviously, 2 points, but then I have him taking the last 2 rounds. I think Paez has been picking up here at aggression, which is the exact opposite of what happened in the last fight. When it was Paez whose gas tank ran empty in the late going.
Yep. Now Wheeler flashing some of the form that I thought carried the day for him in the early rounds. Jabbing with the left, backing Paez up, keeping him at a distance. Throwing the right hand behind it. Just like that, Paez cannot get off if Wheeler goes back to the solid left hand and the right. He's not going to knock Paez out.
No, but that's the distance he needs to fight.
Exactly.
He's not trying to fight inside now with Paez. He's fighting at a short distance when he can get off his left jabs and then just follow him up with crisp right hands.
Paez slipped and went down. There was no punch thrown. Paez, for one brief moment, probably feeling that he is really coming on strong, mugging a little bit with Wheeler, inviting Wheeler to hit him in the face, knowing that Wheeler's punching power is questionable at best. But all of that is not going to help Paez if Wheeler just keeps sticking that left hand in his face and throwing the right hand behind it. Now Paez wrestles Wheeler about a bit. 130-pounders. WBC Continental America's super featherweight title.
Paez needs to throw some punches, Tom.
Yeah, this isn't doing him any good. The crowd loves it, but it's not winning any points with the judges because the only punches being thrown are those by Wheeler. This is round number 10, scheduled for 12.
Paez won the last 2 rounds by punching, by landing a large volume of punching and out-punching Julian Wheeler for the first time.
Mugging and dancing and sticking his jaw and inviting Wheeler to hit it. Neither man has been done. Paez had a point taken away for holding and hitting. Round 10 coming to a close. Kind of an uneventful one, especially for Paez. We'll be back. Round number 11. It that's scheduled for 12. Neither man has been down. Wheeler's in the white, in the blue trunks. Paez in the black, trimmed in white. Artie Denkin, the third man in the ring. Wheeler's the WBC America's Continental Super Featherweight Champion. His title on the line tonight. He beat Paez in an upset victory over Jorge Caesars Lake Tahoe back in October. Snapped a string of wins for Paez that had people talking about him getting a title shot. But maybe Espinoza, the featherweight champ, or even at 130 pounds in the junior lightweight division. Many people thinking that he's a better fighter at 126. Carries a pretty good punch with him at that age, of course. He's 31. Can he get down to 126? Not an easy thing to do.
Tom, I thought that the momentum of Paez, which appeared to be building through the middle rounds, was taken away from him a little bit in that last round by Julian Wheeler, who may have caught a second win, and he's also started this 11th round pretty good.
Yeah, and on top of that, Rich, Paez was doing as he hadn't in the first. He's doing it now. Kind of mugging and bouncing around, inviting Wheeler to hit him. Wheeler can't hurt him, and Paez knows that. Wheeler's not going to knock him out unless he nails him with his very best ever. So Paez can do all of that. He was, but he's not throwing punches, and as a result, he's not influencing anybody, who especially counts at ringside, I'm sure. You know what surprised me most of all about this fight? Why did Wheeler take this fight? Did Wheeler have to take this fight?
No. Well, if he wanted to make some money, I guess. Well, I think he did it for a paycheck.
Then that means that he had to take this fight, didn't he? I mean, is this the only fight open to Julian Wheeler?
I think he could get a good payday here, Tom, and I don't think he's the kind of fighter, really, who sends promoters rushing with fistfuls of cash yet.
Good observation. Yeah, I'm sure. I think all of those are valid points. It has always been, you know, after you beat a guy that, why you go back and, you know, been there, done that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I was very surprised, too. I asked Antonio Cruz, he's surprised that Wheeler got back in the ring with Paez. He said, no, he wants the payday.
That's why I asked you, because, yeah, Curtis, I heard that comment from Antonio. He said, no, he wasn't a bit surprised. Fighter, and this was a fight. So round 11 is in the books, which leaves us one more to go to decide this title shot. We'll be back. And the bell, touching of gloves, round number 12 to settle this one. The WBC Continental America's Junior Super Featherweight Championship on the line. Wheeler's the champ. Paez trying to win this fight tonight. Regain the stature that he needs to get a bona fide shot at a major world championship, say perhaps 126 pounds. Paez does a little mesmerizing. His fans like it. I don't think the judges much care for it, and I don't think Wheeler really found it too entertaining. And with all of it, a few precious seconds go by when he might have been better served. Rich Morata throwing punches.
And keep in mind in that scoring, too, Tom, that there was that point taken away, deducted from Paez in round number 7 for holding behind the head and hitting. I believe Paez needs something very dramatic here in this last round to pull this fight out.
And it is not as exciting a round as we had anticipated from either man. Wheeler not listening to the admonitions out of his corner to get out there, jab, win this round, be busy, win it, throw punches. And of course Paez content to lunge, grab, and do some antics out there in the ring in a most important round for him. Whether he thinks he's a lot closer or even ahead in the judges' cards, I don't know. But he acts as though this is not a very important round. Trying to nail Wheeler up against the ropes. Artie Denkin separates the two men.
Wheeler is going to be a very difficult guy for anybody to fight, Tom. He may have trouble attracting the top guys to fight because, you know, it's going to be tough to look good against them.
Yep. It's a nice left-right combination by Wheeler. As good as any punch that's been thrown in this round. They haven't been that many. And we're closing down the final minute of round number 12. Paez lunging almost in desperation, trying to catch a little magic in the closing moments. All into another clinch. Less than half a minute now. I don't know if Paez has turned it around, Rich. I don't think he's won this fight. I don't know. 10 seconds remain.
And I do think he came much more prepared tonight with a much better attitude into this ring. But again, it was a difficult night for him.
Yes, and I'm confident, as you have indicated, that he knew what to expect coming into this fight as opposed to what to expect back in October of last year. We'll be back to find out how the judges saw it right after this. Tonight's Fight Night at the Forum has been brought to you by Brewery Fresh Budweiser, who reminds you fresh beer tastes better. Jimmy Lennon's collecting the cards, checking with Marty Denkin. Champion's belt is in the ring. Jimmy has got the decision now, and he's coming over to pick up the microphone. Here's Jimmy Lennon Jr. Let's go to the ring. Jimmy?
Ladies and gentlemen, after 12 rounds of boxing, we have a split decision. Here are the score totals. Judge at ringside, Lou Filippo scores at 114-113 in favor of Julian Wheeler. Judge at ringside, Carol Castellano scores about 114-113 in favor of Jorge Maromero Paez. Judge at ringside, Vince Delgado scores the bout 115-112 in favor of the winner and new WBC Continental America Super Featherweight Champion, Jorge Maromero Paez.
Well, I don't know as how, I've got to say it, I'm very shocked. I didn't think he won the fight. I didn't think anybody at ringside thought so. Our two contestants that will advance in the search for the Miss Ringsider competition, contestant number 3, Avalon, contestant number 4, Cappy. We will see you on the 3rd from the pond in Anaheim, back at the Forum on the 10th of February. Mark Johnson's in action then. For Rich Morata and Fernando and Tom Kelly. Good night from the Forum.